Hello, here I am going to explain the integration of DC motor with an AVR microcontroller. Here is the program written in AVR Studio. Here I am using three functions named CW for clockwise direction, stop for stopping the motor, CCW for counterclockwise direction. Okay, here in the main function I have called each function according to this manner. First of all, I am calling CW clockwise function. Before this, I made port D as input port. In internal pull up not activated. Here I am using pull down resistor for this purpose. It is active high setup. Okay. Then fifth pin and fourth pin makes high. Makes means this means DDRB or is equal to 1 left shift 5 means the fifth B5 and B4 made output pins. Okay, then if the button is pressed, that means if there is a 1, that means a 5 volts in the D2 pin, it will start the function CW. After stop, then CCW, then stop. This will continue until this condition matches. If this condition doesn't match, that means if we are releasing the push button, it will stop. This is the program. Now we can load this hex file into this microcontroller, then we can check whether it is working or not. Okay, first of all I am going to save this function, then building the solution, then hex file is generated. I am going to load the hex file to this microcontroller. For this, here AVR DC motor switch 1, DC motor switch 1 debug. Then I am selecting this hex file to this microcontroller, then starting the simulation. Now I am going to press the push button. Now you can see the motor is rotating in clockwise direction, then stops. After that again it is rotating in anti-clockwise direction. Now let's set up this on a real hardware motor. Okay, when I am releasing this button, the motor stops itself. Okay, here it is important to explain that when I am pressing the button, the motor turns clockwise direction. After stops, then it returns to the anti-clockwise direction. This is because here I have called the clockwise direction function, then stop function, then anti-counterclockwise direction function, again stop function. If this condition matches, that means this button has been pressed. First it will call the clockwise function, then it will call the stop function, then it will call counterclockwise function. After that it will call the stop function. Okay, these four functions will be called if this condition matches. Again it will check for this condition. If button is not pressed, it will go to stop function. That means if once the button is pressed, all these functions will execute. Okay, this is a program. Now we are going to implement this on a real motor using Arduino development board L293D motor driver. This one we are using for development purpose. We are using the Arduino board, then L293D motor driver, then a DC motor. We can see what is happening here. Now we can flash this hex file into the microcontroller, into the Arduino board. For this, I have to copy the path of the hex file first of all. Now I am going to copy the hex file. For this purpose, I am going to copy the hex file from the folder location. Here is the folder. Sorry, this is the folder location. I think in this folder location, here OPS pads. Then I am going to connect the Arduino board to the device, to the computer. Then I am going to flash this X file to the Arduino board. Here in the command prompt, I am giving the file path to the command prompt. Then it will execute automatically. Okay, now given the path, then put enter. Now the hex file has been flashed to the AVR microcontroller on the development board of Arduino. Now we can check the real motor whether it is working or not according to our switch arrangement. Okay. As per the schematic diagram, I am going to connect the DC motor to the Arduino development board. For this, we have programmed the 13th pin and 14th, that is B5 and B4 as motor outputs. That is the 13th pin and 12th pin are motor outputs. Okay, now I am connecting the motor output. Here this is the L293D. Here in this board, this is the motor driver inputs. Here we are going to connect the motor. Here already we connected this DC motor to these two pins. Here we need to give the power supply to the motor. Need to give 12 volt directly. Here I am using 5 volt of the Arduino board. My motor works normally, but there will be a ampere problem. But here for demonstrating I am using this method. Okay, now I am going to give these two pins to the B4 and B5 connections of the AVR microcontroller. Here in the Arduino development board, as we know, the 13th pin is B5 and the 12th pin is B4. Now I am going to connect the 13th pin and the 12th pin. First you can connect to the 13th pin, then I am going to connect to the 12th pin to the microcontroller, to the motor driver. Now the connections are okay. Also the power supply has been given. Then I am going to supply the Arduino development board. Now we can check whether the before this we need to make arrangement for the button. Now we can arrange the button as shown in the circuit diagram. Here I am going to show the circuit diagram for you. This is our circuit diagram. According to this circuit diagram, we need a pull down resistor from the push button to the ground, also another end of the push button to the 5 volt. Okay, this arrangement we are creating these types of arrangement. Okay, now this is our button arrangement. Look here, I am going to wire this button. First removing all this, then this is the button itself. For the button, this and these are same connections. These both are same connection. They are different. Now first we are giving a 220 ohm resistor from one side of the button to the ground. Okay, then another side of the button to the 5 volt from the microcontroller. I am giving this from the 5 volt of the microcontroller. Now I have just arranged here. The motor is connected to the V in. Here we get 5 volts. Then this 5 volt for switch I have connected to 5 volt directly. Okay, this is arrangement that I have changed. Now the button gets two connections. One is from 5 volt, another one is from the. Now we need to make this point as ground. Also the button has two connections. One is to the D2. One is to the D2 is connected to the resistor end. Now we are going to connect this D2 to the resistor end. Means D2 means 2. So this pin is 2. We are connecting to this 0 1 2 2 pin. Okay, this is the input button that we are giving. Now we need to make this another end to the ground. Okay, so the resistor should be connected to ground. Now we are giving ground to this end. Here we will get a ground inside this. We are giving ground here. Okay, now we can check this arrangement, this motor arrangement. Now we are getting this motor arrangement. Now we are checking the motor. Now as we discussed before, the loop executes itself. First clockwise direction, then stops, then anti-clockwise direction, then stops. Loop once executed. Again I am giving push button to the 5 volt. Now it is clockwise direction, then again it will anti-clockwise direction, then it will stop. Now it is stopping. Now the condition doesn't match. That means the push button has been released. Now I am again going to give the 5 volt to the push button. Now you can see the motor is taking the functions that we have written in the AVR microcontroller studio. Okay, now we can press the push button again. Okay, the motor is rotating normally. So this is the concept of integration of DC motor to the AVR microcontroller. Okay.